have Crawford jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, who's a natural light heavyweight. Crawford, who couldn't push back Madrimov. Life and death with Madrimov. What do you think Canelo's gonna do to him? Run him out of the ring.
Oscar de la Hoya's change of heart has caused a lot of trouble just a few months before one of the most awaited fights in modern boxing history. In a recent interview, de la Hoya admitted that he used to think Crawford would beat Canelo, but now he thinks that's not likely to happen. That Crawford slammed de la Hoya's statement, making it easy for him to win.
Canelo, and he fights at 168 plus, so I don't see me and him fighting. So
what's the highest you could fight at realistically?
I would say 154 realistically.
154.
You know,
So
them boys get big up there. Them boys get big up there. And I'm not a person to, toot my own horn.
At first, de la Hoya backed Terence Crawford and was sure that Crawford would beat Canelo at any time. Crawford is naturally big, and de la Hoya said he could fight at 168 pounds if he wanted to. This was a vote of trusting Crawford's versatility, strength, and ring knowledge. It was also a reference to the fighting saying a good big man beats a good little man, that de la Hoya said Crawford wasn't the little man. In a surprise turn of events, de la Hoya now says the fight is unfair and favors Canelo, playing down Crawford's threat and calling it almost a no contest.
The main cards, it will be 4 fights, and we will have Canelo Crawford and the co-main event, and 2 fights. One of them is Gerald and Miller, if we finish it. Then there is another card start earlier for free for everywhere. We are thinking to put around from 6 to 10 fights for talent.
Terence Crawford was not going to stand for the U-turn. Crawford quietly but firmly replied, pointing out that de la Hoya was inconsistent. One minute he said this about Canelo, and the next he said that. His words made it clear that the September 13th fight is more than just a big fight between big names and titles. It also has historical implications. If Crawford beats Canelo and becomes undisputed in a 3rd weight class, it would be a first in men's boxing history. Not even the giants Sugar Ray Leonard, Roy Jones Jr., or Floyd Mayweather have done it. Crawford's reputation is already cemented in some circles, but a win over Canelo would elevate him to a level few fighters ever achieve. And despite the accolades and technical brilliance he's displayed across weight classes, there is still skepticism, most notably about his resume.
All about making history. I was the first 2-time undisputed champion of the world. I'm gonna show you the first 3-time undisputed champion.
Eddie Hearn raised this very worry. Hearn praised Crawford's ability, but regretted Bud's lack of huge fights against the greats in their prime. According to Hearn, that wasn't a jab, but rather a remark about the boxing environment, which failed to give Crawford marquee names during their peak years. Crawford's finest wins, including as against Ricky Burns, are commendable but pale in comparison to the names and resumes linked with Canelo Alvarez. Even Crawford's overwhelming wins over Kell Brook, Amir Khan, and Errol Spence Jr. come with caveats. Many saw Brook and Khan as faded versions of themselves when they faced Crawford. Spence, too, had questions after the car accident and ensuing lengthy layoff before his fight with Crawford.
Canelo couldn't knock out Charlo. Or you really think that he's gonna knock out Crawford? I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way. I know a secret y'all don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fights.
On the other hand, Canelo's resume is broad and filled with well-known players. Floyd Mayweather and Gennady Golovkin. Sergey Kovalev. He has battled multiple weight divisions, including Miguel Cotto and Caleb Plant, in chase of belts and greatness. Some of those wins, such as those over Golovkin and Kovalev, were complicated by factors including as age, timing, and controversy, but Canelo has constantly faced top-tier talent. That is why, despite past conflicts with the Mexican superstar, individuals such as De La Hoya and Hearn may argue that the fight is in his advantage. Canelo isn't simply bigger, he's experienced in the most important fights against better opponents.
I said before, he's a great fighter. But if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter. Just mention me one elite fighter.
So Poster wasn't elite?
Who?
However, not everyone views the battle as a mismatch. For many fans and onlookers, Terence Crawford's technical brilliance is the great equalizer. Crawford's footwork, ring generalship, ability to change stances, and exceptional timing make him one of the world's most dangerous fighters versus Spence. Crawford did not only win, he overpowered. He made a world-class fighter look like a novice, at times, showing patience, accuracy, and composure that few boxers possess. The hardship of moving up to super middleweight is obvious, but for others, the stylistic contrast may offset size. Crawford does not be struck frequently, thus he does not waste energy. If he can manage Canelo's power, the rest of the fight might go in his favor based solely on ability and knowledge.
This fight does more for your career than fighting David Benavidez?
You can see the career of Terence Crawford Benavidez. Terence Crawford is undisputed champion in 2 weight classes, many championship fights. So he bring me something to the table.
Still, Oscar De La Hoya's move raises questions. Some speculate that his newfound backing for Canelo is motivated by promotional politics or risk reduction plan. De La Hoya has been both an advocate and a critic of Canelo throughout the years, especially after their split when Canelo departed Golden Boy Promotions. Their fight was nasty and public, but with the Saudi boxing boom altering the sport's power structure, it appears that old tensions are easing under the weight of money and spectacle. Saudi advisor Turki Al-Sheikh, who has emerged as the kingmaker behind many of the sport's biggest events in recent months, looks to be bringing together names across promotional lines for these megacards.
Is there a champion?
I'm going to fight another elite
There is
fighter
a champions,
in September.
good fighters, but elite fighters is different. Wait.
So I'm going to fight an elite fighter in September.
Yeah, okay.
Then we're
going to find out.
Then we're going to
find out. And don't get me wrong, you're a great fighter.
I know I'm great.
You're a great fighter, but are you gonna find out? I hope your uncle Turki Al-Sheikh pay you enough money, because it's gonna be the last. That's
it
for
may
sure.
be. It may be. Maybe.
I hope he pay you enough.
But you know, after fighters fight me, they ain't never the same. So
Turki Al-Sheikh played a major role in organizing the Canelo-Crawford bout. He reportedly visited with Crawford prior to the official announcement, and Crawford confided to him that this could be his final fight. The news that the undefeated champion is considering retiring after this fight adds emotional weight to the event. Crawford did not want a rematch clause, and it is unknown whether Canelo's team pushed on one. Crawford's finality shows that he sees this as a defining moment in his career, one that will either finish his story or end in tragedy. Fighters don't usually get to choose their exits, but in Crawford's case, it appears purposeful to leave on top with history in hand, which would be the ideal end to a career that has frequently been clouded by industry politics.
Thing is, on Terence Crawford's side, all the legacy, meaning he only has the opportunity to win the belts. Saul only has an opportunity to defend them. Terence Crawford has an opportunity to be in a 5 division and the only person to win all 4 belts in 3 separate weight divisions. Why is Saul taking this fight? And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's some things in life more important than just the belts. And that 20-year career that Terence Crawford made, that all that he has, is very valuable. Very, very valuable. He had 1 foot out the gate.
The fight also has a financial wrinkle that could impact the intensity in the ring. According to Al-Sheikh, there will be knockout bonuses on the line not only in this fight, but in others moving forward. It's an idea borrowed from MMA and gaming culture, but now being applied in top-tier boxing. The timing is interesting, especially after Canelo's uneventful win over William Skull, which some view as dull and uninspiring if knockout incentives push fighters to be more aggressive.
You need to put a small ring
A small ring, the smaller ring in the.
The only, hey Matt. Yeah. The only running that I'm gonna be doing is running upside his head, and I can assure you that. Facts. And he got a big head too.
Carl Froch, never one to hold back his ideas, gave his whole stance on the Canelo versus Crawford bout during an interview with Foot Italia, and his perspective stands in stark contrast to the current trend among certain commentators in favor of Canelo. Froch praised Crawford's adaptability and often overlooked size, saying, "That's a good fight. Crawford is bigger than you know. I just think size matters, and he's definitely bigger than the weight class he's been campaigning in. I believe he'll grow into it. I believe he will gain weight and feel more at ease in the ring." Froch is not alone in this view, but his belief in Crawford's ability to scale up without sacrificing his approach distinguishes his analysis. He isn't concerned about the hazards of moving up 3 categories. Instead, he sees it as a chance for Crawford to show his versatility and competence.
It would be a disappointment if this did normal boxing numbers, you know, and let's be real, you know what Jake Paul is gonna say. He already shitted on this fight. Don't let the numbers not come anywhere close to his numbers with Tyson, and it's gonna be all bad. Would it even matter if Bud and Canelo didn't do the numbers of Jake and Tyson? Or is that an indictment on the sport that, it's just showing what our fan base prefers, right?
He underlined Crawford's strengths, his skill set, versatility, and mindset. He's incredibly bright and skilled. He's definitely capable of defeating whomever he faces in the ring. I'd probably pick Crawford to defeat Canelo, Froch stated, and it wasn't a casual statement coming from someone who has fought Andre Ward, Mikkel Kessler, and George Groves. Such an endorsement holds weight. Froch wasn't peddling hype. He was expressing his opinion that the current Canelo may not have enough left in the tank to face someone like Crawford.
The others say, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a legend. It's just so much to go.
And Froch was open about why he believes Canelo's performance is deteriorating, especially after his most recent fight. Canelo thinks he has passed his peak. He did not look good in his most recent fight, citing a loss of sharpness and hunger. He's not driven versus fighters who flee and avoid contact. Why would he walk into shots if he's up by points? He likes an easy night's work. Froch's comments suggest a boxer who is more concerned with preservation than performance right now, not lacking ability, possibly coasting through some fights rather than pushing the limit.
He hopes you don't run. And Turkey has a knockout bonus in this fight. And there seems to be something out there like the way for you to win this fight is to move. Is that true?
Listen.
Turkey, you need to put a small ring, the smaller ring in the.
Later in the same interview, Froch repeated that point. Canelo has passed his prime. He's fought over 60 times and made a lot. Why is he still fighting? That this is a super fight against Crawford, and everything may go wrong for him. Froch thinks that Canelo's motivation to take big risks may have faded, especially now that his reputation and profits have been assured.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can.
He could lose it, but whoever loses will be disappointed because so many people think Crawford will win. And Crawford is unquestionably a bad bug fighter, a really terrific fighter, a hard, tough nut to crack, and has a real strong head. Even as he praised Crawford, Froch gave Canelo his due, describing him as a student of the game who has faced everyone. Then there's Canelo, who knows everything about the game and has fought everyone.
And here's the thing. a lot of people don't understand what Terrence Crawford's, what a big part of his number one asset is. Do you know he has a 74-inch reach? Floyd Mayweather has a 73-inch reach. Okay? They're able to reach their opponents much easier than other fighters. Their arms are extremely long. This is why Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, is
Teddy Atlas expressed the same idea in a different way on his YouTube show. The experienced trainer and analyst provided his thoughts on the battle, stating that while Canelo has a tremendous career and presence in the ring, he thinks Crawford possesses a rare kind of greatness. Canelo is a great fighter, but Crawford stands out to me. Atlas acknowledged Crawford's CV concerns, but stated that intangible qualities are just as important, if not more so. I understand he hasn't struggled for the resume that everyone wants, but you either have it or you don't, and I think he does.
Forwards, to be honest with you, like when I talk to Bud, I kind of like, he convinces me that he's going to win the fight because he's such a believer in his own ability, and he's very convinced. And then you see the presser yesterday, and I thought Canelo looked really well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he's a big lump, so I was always Canelo. Then I sort of leant towards Bud, but now I'm back with Canelo. So
Atlas also suggested that Canelo may not be as untouchable as many think. Canelo is a great fighter, but is he overrated? He inquired. Atlas Crawford's power is not solely physical. Greatness lives within Crawford. It's in his drive, his mind, and his heritage. I know he's moving up the weight classes. Can he carry it? You know, but I feel he has the intangibles. His tone was not dismissive of Canelo, but more a cautionary reminder not to overlook Crawford's resolve.
The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you can't.
Sergio Mora recently weighed in on the clash, offering another nuanced perspective. For Mora, the traditional boxing proverb, a great big man beats a great small man, does not apply as easily here. For a long time, I used to say, a great big man will beat a great small man. That's just how it is in boxing. However, following Canelo's last showing, he struggled with a guy who cut off the ring. Mora thinks it's more than just size, it's about present sharpness and what's left in the tank after so many years of combat. Canelo has lost a step, let us keep it real. He is a man who has fought over 65 times, he's been fighting regularly since he was 15 years old. There's wear and tear, accidents, and he can age overnight.
I have to have enough power to hurt him. I just gotta beat him. That's it. If he slip up, then, you know, he will get hurt.
Time to go to work.
Interestingly, Mora mentioned something that is rarely acknowledged. Crawford, while appearing to be older than Canelo, may in fact be younger. Believe it or not, he is younger than Crawford, yet Crawford does not have those miles in his eyes. Crawford may possess the physical and mental energy that Canelo is beginning to lack. Mora added that Crawford has been bulking up carefully, rather than simply acquiring mass for the sake of it. He's just a nasty guy. He's bulking up beautifully and doing it the right way. He looks to be taller and have broader shoulders than Canelo. Mora's observation suggests that Crawford is changing himself for the upcoming job, rather than simply gaining weight.
Because what all these streamers and these other YouTube guys, they didn't turn boxing into it's like a comedian show. It's just putting anybody in the ring. So Crawford and Canelo, good thing that fight is coming, because it's kind of put some kind of legitimacy back to boxing. Would you ever think a few years ago you would see a Charles?
As for how he sees the fight going, Mora stated, I think it's a decision-type battle, and I don't think Canelo comes out unscathed. He'll leave a little beaten and battered, but he'll win the decision. Mora gives Crawford credit for starting the fight and dealing damage, but he does not predict the upset. He thinks Canelo has done enough to clinch the victory, but only after. About that might drastically alter both men's future courses. Ward is cognizant of the hazards associated in this clash, especially the physical toll of leaping to weight classes, but his faith in Crawford's mental and tactical abilities stays strong.
Canelo versus Crawford. Garcia's breakdown isn't just about raw talent. It's about the strategic elements that could tip the scale in favor of the Mexican superstar.
Robert, what's a smart bet on Crawford Canelo? Canelo by knockout or Canelo by decision?
Crawford by decision. And you have to bet?
Yes.
I say Canelo by decision. I've always been saying, I think Canelo at the end, obviously his strength, his weight,
experience
probably takes over.
Garcia's analysis makes it clear.
Ward didn't hedge his baits either. No offense to Canelo, but I've stated several times that I am not betting against Terence Crawford against anyone right now. You've got to prove to me that you can beat him. For Ward, the question isn't who has a more decorated record or who has fought at higher weights for a longer period of time. It's who can solve the puzzle that is Crawford.